I'm Holly Michael, editor and publisher of the Twin Creek Times, and I'm here today in Grandma Brown's apron, and I want to show you how to make a really cool American flag cake for the 4th of July. And I've got all the ingredients here, and I've never done a cooking segment before, but I'm going to muddle through it, and I'm going to show you now on the screen what the cake will look like when it's done. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's show you what you need to make it work. So it's really simple as far as the baking part. You really just need a couple white cake mixes, and you're going to make these according to the box directions. And then this is an important part. You're going to dye 1 pan of the cake blue and 1 pan red. Now make sure you use good food coloring if you can get your hands on it, because red and blue tend to be pink and light blue if you just try to use those little food coloring droppers. But if that's all you've got, pour it in there, and I'm sure it'll still be a fun result. Even if you're not completely red or completely blue, it'll still look cool. So make sure you do that. And then you're going to do one other cake mix where you're making both pans white. And the one white, you'll just be able to eat separate. So what you'll end up needing are 1 white layer of cake, 1 red layer of cake, and 1 blue layer of cake. But we're not going to just stack them. We're going to do some cool stuff that makes it really look like an American flag. So after you mix up your cake mix, you're going to want to split the batter into 2 containers and then add your food coloring. So I'm going to do red with this one. And this stuff, you can see this food coloring is real thick when it comes in these little jars like this. But I'm still going to put a pretty hefty portion so it's nice and red. You can see it's going to be nice and red. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the blue. So I've got the blue food coloring. You see, it's really kind of a gel. Add in a good portion here. If you do this with a knife, remember that you don't want to put the knife in the batter and then put the knife back in with the icing, because that's not good for it. So once you've stuck your knife to get the coloring off, you're sort of committed, unless you want to get another knife. Oh, but look at this. See how blue this is? That's when you use this gel food coloring. It really comes out well. After you get both of your layers in the pan, it's time to pop them in the oven and bake according to the box mix directions. And then you'll need to let them cool before baking the white part. And then we get to the assembly, which is the fun part. So the blue and red layers are out of the oven now, and you can see how they turned out. Look how blue that is. It's going to be so great. And here's the red. So you can see that these are still hot. So as soon as they cool off, I'm going to pop them out of here, and then I'm going to start working on the white layer, which of course will be much simpler. And then once those are cooled, we'll work on the cream cheese icing, and then we'll do the assembly. So I've made the white layer, and while it is cooling, I want to make the icing. And this is a cream cheese frosting recipe that came with the recipe for the American flag cake. So I don't always make icing, but I think for this recipe it'll be really nice. So it takes 4 cups of powdered sugar, and then 10 tablespoons of butter. I've got a stick and then a little bit more in here. And then it takes 16 ounces of cream cheese. Set that out to just soften a little bit. And then 4 teaspoons of vanilla. I love this Watkins vanilla. And then the powdered sugar needs to be sifted. So I've got my sifter here, and I'll run all the powdered sugar through there and make it nice and fluffy. So we'll mix that up. I'll pop it in the fridge a little bit to cool, and then we'll be ready to do the fun part of assembling this American flag cake. So the icing is finished and resting in the refrigerator, get a little chilled there. And so the next thing we need to do is get the layers of the cake ready. And so first thing we need to do is cut the white layer in half. And my white layer came out a tiny bit thin, so I'm gonna try here to see if I can get it cut in half. I've got a serrated knife. Next, I'm going to cut the red layer in half. You see, they have the white layers here. Now I'm going to cut the red layer in half, also with the serrated knife. Again, my red layer did not come out super, super thick. So we have our two white layers separated and our two red layers separated. So now we're going to get the blue layer and we're going to cut a hole in the center, and it's all going to make sense eventually. Okay, so we have all our layers here. I took a little off the top of the blue layer just to make it even with the thinness of the other layers. And so now we're going to take the blue one, the red one, and the white one and put them on top of each other. And then we're going to take a bowl and we're going to cut a hole in the center here. Make sure they're all lined up. Okay, so now let's get to the frosting. A lot of people use spatulas for cake frosting. My mother and I have always used Navy knives that my grandfather acquired during his time in World War II. He was drafted and stationed in America, and my grandmother would cook for the soldiers, and some of these Navy knives ended up in their collection. So now you're going to see how this comes together. First thing we're going to do is put half the white layer, the solid one, not the one we cut a hole in, the solid one. Then we're going to ice that. And then we're going to put the red layer on top of that. Then you'll see what we do with the rest of this. I like icing, so I'm going to put a big old portion on there. Also, I think sometimes when you do these cakes that are meant to look cool, they don't, they just taste average. But this cream cheese frosting is going to really make this pop as a special dessert, not just in how it looks. Okay, so we got that frosted. Now we're going to take our red layer and put that over top. Okay. Now I'm going to give this a good coating of frosting to keep it all together. When we get it done, we're going to coat the whole thing so that when you cut it open, it's almost kind of a surprise that it has this cool American flag look. Getting my frosting is getting a little crummy there. It's all right. Okay. Now is the tricky part. So now is the part where we're really kind of making that flag look. So we're going to take these. So we've got a ring, and then we've got a circle for each color. So for blue, I'm going to add the blue by actually taking the ring and putting it here. So if you think about it, that's how it's going to end up showing a little square of blue when you cut into it later. So we're going to give this a little bit of icing just to help it stick. And this is really got a lot of crumbs in it, but that's okay. We'll make it work. And if you don't prefer as much icing as I do, obviously you can use less. I like icing, and this cream cheese frosting is really amazing. Okay. So now, this is the fun part. This blue piece, I'm not going to need that. You can give that to the kids. Let them have that. And so then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the rings. We're going to use the circles for the red and white. And I'm seeing here that my red circle doesn't want to punch out. We'll do the white one first. So you can see here now, the white one, kind of mush it down in there, add some more frosting. A lot of blue crumbs have gotten in here, so I'm going to try to get those out. So frost this layer. Okay. Then get some cuts here on my red one, so that ring can come out. Do it. I'm going to get smart and put the crumb side down. There. So we got the rings left over from the red and the white and the blue. So you could have some extra little pieces of cake to have as a snack, give to the kids, feed to the pet, whatever you like to do. But in those rare moments where there's something called extra cake, which usually is not a thing in my house. Okay, this might be looking a little rough right now, but we're going to ice the whole thing, and then we're going to cut it, and you're going to be amazed about how cool this is. So the cake is iced. Is it the firmest cake ever? No, but I think it does look really cute. And I got these little sprinkles, so I don't have a shaker, so I'm gonna shake some out in my hand and put them on top of the cake just to give it that red, white, and blue theme from the outside before you cut it and see how cool it looks on the inside. So I'm going to give this cake a little time to firm up in the fridge, and then we'll cut a piece and you can see how it comes out. All right, let's do this. Let's see how the red, white, and blue flag cake came out. So I've got my great big knife here, and I'm going to make a big cut. We'll see how this looks. Just a piece. Oh, look at this. Can you see it there? I think it came out pretty good. Got plenty of icing inside. But you can see it's not that hard. Take some, white cake mix, and you don't have to make your own icing like I did. And arranging the layers, and you can make this fun 4th of July flag cake.